Hey guys, Analog Man here for another deck profile as usual, late night one as usual because I just got off work, but I wanted to show off the new Magnamon GX build that I've been working on. Basically, it's a Magnamon X deck that techs in GX as a kind of like option to swing for game. Um, in testing, the weird thing is that it works actually really well in conjunction with Davis and Ken because as it states on the Tamer card, it allows you to unsuspend a dual colored card when digivolving. So you basically digivolve on top and then you blitz, and then you do it like, especially if you have enough memory, you can basically swing twice for like 2 to 3 security checks. And the cool thing is that you can actually equip Magnamon, the normal one, basically underneath the source. So you basically are guaranteed to get like 2 checks no matter what. So if you have enough memory, you basically just swing for like 4 checks and then you swing again for game basically. So really strong how that works. But at the same time, it is kind of hard to get off, especially in my build because I only run one copy. The one that had actually won the DCI one Grand Prix, and I think the Carta Magica, they ran two. I actually opted to just focus mainly on just the armor rushing and then kind of diverting attacks with Magna X and then having GX as like that kind of win more button because I honestly feel that Magna X already kind of does most of the job for you. GX is just there to kind of like boost the offense, not the defense. The defense of this deck is still really strong, and the offense is already really powerful because you can rush and then armor purge and then evolve again and then just keep doing it and swinging. This build does not run Flame Rocket, but it does run the other yellow option card. Was it Awakening of the Golden Knight? That card is honestly the best card, and I feel like running maybe 3 instead of 2, because I'm running like one Ice Wall, but I feel like having a third one would be really good because you tend to draw Magna X a lot in this build. So it's honestly better to just evolve into them and just kind of like make it so your opponent can't punch through early. But yeah, let's actually get into the deck profile so you can see what I'm talking about. First, we're actually for once running 5 eggs. With this deck, since you go defensive, you kind of need the 5th egg, so you run 4 Upamons. The one from BT1, of course. This is, of course, the alt art for it, so, you know. And then 1 Demi-V because you do run the jamming one, so there are moments where you do get the extra draw, so having this one just kind of in long games is really nice. But yeah, we run 5 eggs. Both eggs are really solid for blue, especially Upamon, because there is ways to, remove sources and make it so it's more live, but, it's just how blue is. Then let's get into the level threes. As a Magnamon X deck, you will be running a lot of VMons. So first off, we're running 4 of the jamming VMons from BT3. Standard, gotta run 4. Very solid card, still busted to this day. You run 4 of the EX1 VMon because you get to basically unsuspend a lot in this deck. So you're gonna be able to get that extra memory no matter what. Then we run 4 of the VMon from BT8 because this thing searches dual color cards, and a lot of the cards in this deck are now dual colors, so this is actually more live than the starter deck one. And of course, the fact that it can grab anything that is dual colored, including a Tamer or an option card. So this card is actually better than the other one because the other one only adds Digimon. Then for the last 2 rookies, we run 2 VMons from the starter deck because this one does help us draw a bit, and of course it does let us warp to All Force, but we don't really run All Force, so it doesn't really matter. We're just using it for the inherit. But yeah, we run 14 VMons because VMon is the literal rookie of this deck, so you have to run it like that. Then for level 4s, it's kind of weird. I run 4 Magnamons because Magnamon is one of my favorite Digimon and one of my favorite Royal Knights aside from Jesmon. So I really just love like how this card works, how it has a really good defense, and the fact that it has blocker by default and boosts itself on Digivolving, and it's dual color, so it can be searched by the other Vmon very easily. Then we run 4 of Lydramon because, of course, it's also a dual color, and it lets you suspend a level 4 or lower, and it has, of course, Armor Purge just like Magnamon. Then we run actually only 3 Flangedramon. My original build actually ran 4 of him, but I feel like sometimes he doesn't really do much, so it's just 3 is already a really solid number, so I went, okay, might as well drop him down to 1 to fit in more stuff, you know? And of course, when attacking, he boosts himself to 8,000, which is really cool. But aside from that, having Armor Purge and the boost and attack, he's not really that much to deal with. That's all the armors we run. We run about 11 armors. And then our last level 4 of the deck will be just one Lobomon. Because sometimes, you've swung for game with your guy like 3 times and you still can't win. So you just go, oh, I still have 2 memory, and you just Lobo for game. That's basically what he exists for. Let's get into level 5s. We don't run that very many. We run 2 Pyodramon because Pyodramon is still very solid, and it's very easy to make him in this deck. But it's mainly just a win more button. You don't always have to really go into him half the time. Like, he's decent, but it's mainly for the bottom decking and the swing twice. I honestly don't really like swing with him because he doesn't have jamming in this deck. So it's just kind of like, if they have 0 security, this is really busted. But if not, I don't really swing with it. Then we run 1 Chimeramon because almost every deck at this point kind of Jogresses in some capacity, even Jesmon. So it's like, I like having this as an option. And of course, this deck having so many different colors, you can just do it. And it's very easy to establish 2 level 4s with this deck. So might as well run it. So we run 3 of these. For level 6, for level 6s, we of course run the 4 Magna X because he is super busted. He can redirect attacks and it's not once per turn. And then if he were to be deleted, he can just put himself into security and basically revert back to his previous form, which is really nice. And yeah, you have to run 4 because he is basically the heart and soul of the deck. So yeah, don't change this ratio for this. I mean, you can maybe get away with 3, but I personally feel that 4 is the standard that you should not deviate from if you're focusing on just this armor rushing. For level 7s, we of course run the 2 Def X's because Def X is a stupidly broken card in this format, especially if your opponent decides to overextend. So this punishes them, and rightly so, because if they extend that hard, that's on them. And then you play also the 1 Jesmon GX I was talking about earlier. I was running him at 2. I was trying to build from Carta Magica and from the DC1 Grand Prix, but I didn't like breaking into this card because it's not great having this card when you could have had like maybe an armor or maybe a Chimera or something to play. So I dropped it down to 1. Def X at least can like reduce its cost later. This can never reduce its cost. It will always cost 5 on top of Magna X, so it's just very not. I mean, it's great, but it's, as I said, it's a win more button. But yeah, we only run the 3 level 7s. The rest are option cards and tamers. So let's get into the options. We run 3 Megadefs because Megadef is still super powerful in this format. It bounces stuff, and bouncing is still one of the best forms of removal. We run 2 Blue Memory Boost because we do like to search. Occasionally, there have been moments where I just couldn't search through drawing, so this actually helped a lot. Then 1 Ice Wall, because Ice Wall is still really powerful, and the fact is if they hit insecurity, they lose 2 memory and it goes to your turn, so that's also really nice. And the fact that you may basically force them to kind of waste memory when attacking, so it kind of gives you that extra turn to kind of maybe come back and take them down maybe. But yeah, after that, we run, of course, the 2 Awakening of the Golden Knight. I really honestly want to take out the Ice Wall. Like, Ice Wall is really good, but a third one of this would be really solid because since you're running 4 of these and you run so many armors and you draw into this, it's like an automatic Magna X. So I'm going to be testing a third copy by taking out this, but I feel like it would be really powerful. Then we run, of course, 4 Davis and Ken's. This card is really busted. It's why I maxed it out, rarity wise. In this deck, it's just so powerful. Like, it just gives you so much advantage. And the fact is that if you have Lydramon, you always are guaranteed 2 extra memory, which is so busted in this format. But yeah, max out on him. Very powerful tamer. And then of course you run the 2 Davis tamers, especially the altards, because they're so easy to get now with the starter decks. This guy's really powerful still, even to this day, even though he came out like back in like what, set 3. The fact that he lets you search the top 3 cards and grab a blue card is still very powerful, and the fact that he sets your memory, so your opponent can't really do anything once this is on the field to like memory choke you. So very solid deck. I just wanted to get this deck profile out, so people can kind of like have a way to play Magna X, especially if they like him as much as I do. I've been just basically trying to tinker and build this deck to be as good as possible. and I feel like this deck has a very anti-meta kind of like way to it. I mean, of course, if you have a bunch of armors and tamers and they drop a Def X, you lose, of course, because your board gets wiped. But in every other case, when they don't run a Def X, when they aren't able to run a Def X, this deck excels. It goes in, does really powerful offensive. Passing your turn by just evolving into Magna X on top of Magna is so strong because they basically can't get past it because it's so strong at that point, especially if you already have like 2 to 3 armors. This thing is basically getting 6,000. So it's going to be a 17,000 blocker. Well, not really a blocker, but a 17,000 wall that they can't get past with a lot of their little guys. And then next turn, you just kind of swing and just keep going, and you just kind of board control, and then eventually maybe GX for a game, basically. So it's very strong of a deck. And as I said, Defx is basically the main problem of this deck. But aside from that, it's super powerful against almost everything. So I highly recommend trying out this deck, at least maybe using my template. And anyway, just thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you thought of the deck. And I'll see you guys next time.